The last thing I saw before I passed out was the witch's bony finger reaching toward me. It was long and thin, and her nail was cracked, curling like a claw. She touched my forehead, and my whole body went cold. I grew up in a small village where everyone knew everyone. We lived by certain rules. One of the most important ones: never go near the old forest at night. People said it was haunted by a wicked witch who lived there. She was known as Mama Nsi. Mama Nsi had been around for as long as anyone could remember. People said she was as old as the trees. Her skin was dark and wrinkled like bark, and her eyes were sharp and yellow, like a wild animal's. Kids whispered that if she caught you in her forest, she would curse you. But of course, my friend Kofi and I were curious. We were just kids after all. One night, after hearing too many stories, we decided to sneak out. "Let's go to the edge of the forest," Kofi said, grinning, "just to see if it's true." The forest was quiet when we arrived. Too quiet. No crickets, no frogs, nothing. Just silence. The air smelled thick and strange, like rotting leaves and something else. Something foul. I almost told Kofi we should leave, but before I could, he'd already stepped inside. We hadn't gone far when we saw a hut, small and crooked, like it had been pulled out of a nightmare. There were animal bones hanging from the trees around it. They clinked softly, swinging in the slight wind. Suddenly, we heard a raspy voice. "Who dares to come to Mama Nsi's forest?" We froze. A shadow moved near the hut, growing closer, until we could see her, Mama Nsi. She wore a dress of dark, torn cloth, and her hair was wild and tangled. Her yellow eyes shone as she looked at us, a wicked smile spreading across her face. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly, voice like dry leaves scraping together. "But now that you are, I think I'll keep you." Kofi grabbed my hand, but it was like I was glued to the ground. I couldn't move. She started to chant in a language I didn't understand, her hand reaching out toward us. When her finger touched my forehead, it felt like ice stabbing into my skin. Everything went black. When I woke up, it was morning. I was lying at the edge of the forest, alone. Kofi was nowhere to be seen. I searched and searched, but he was gone. The village sent search parties, but they didn't find him. Mama Nsi's hut was gone too, as if it had never existed. To this day, people say you can still hear a boy's voice crying for help from the forest at night. I know it's Kofi, and I know Mama Nsi is still out there, waiting for the next kid foolish enough to enter her forest.